Checked. Stop recording.
Hello everyone, my name is Shelby Craig and welcome to today's episode of Bringing Light to Blindness. In today's episode we are going to be focusing on financial transactions and how a blind person would handle money. Now, if you have come to this podcast episode hoping to find financial advice, this is not the podcast for you. I am far from being an expert, and if you were to talk to my parents and my siblings, they could attest to the fact that for me, math stands for mental abuse toward humans. I am absolutely terrible at it. However, that said, I do know the basics of being able to handle finances. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about not only how blind people can handle physical forms of currency, but also some of the best ways to keep up with your financial stuff. So let's focus on physical currencies first. This is something that you have probably been working on since the first or second grade, maybe even younger. So handling money is a little bit different for blind people versus sighted people. If you were sighted, you would be able to automatically take out a coin and look at it, and you could automatically tell, oh yes, this is a quarter or this is a penny. But as a blind person, we have to do things a little bit differently. And as I was talking about in a previous episode, it is possible to get devices that can literally put braille dots on dollar bills. However, I wouldn't recommend this solution because it can get extremely clunky at best, and after a while the dots on the bills sort of start to fade away. So it's not the most optimal solution out there. There are other ways of being able to tell. Let's start with the easiest form of currency, though. Let's talk about coins. And let's go back to kindergarten for a second. When we were in kindergarten, we learned that there were 4 types of coins: the nickel, the dime, the penny, and the quarter. Not necessarily in that order. And you probably, if you're blind, and if you have been blind your entire life, you will have learned to tell the coins apart based on how they feel. So if we are talking about quarters, quarters are probably the largest coins out there aside from silver dollars. But that's beside the point. Quarters can be identified as a quarter because not only are they larger than most other coins, but they also have ridges around the edges. So their edges are really rough, and that's how you can tell that it's a quarter. Nickels are about the same size as quarters, except they have smooth edges. Now, I will say this, there are times when the coins will become older and more faded with time, and some of the edges of the coins can get a little tarnished, rusted, I guess you would call it. But generally speaking, the best way to be able to tell a coin from another coin is by its size and the ridges around it. So, as I was saying, the nickels tend to be about the same size as quarters, except they are completely smooth around the edges. Conversely, if we were to look at a dime would be much smaller than those 2 coins, and it would have rough edges around it. And a penny is the small coin that has no ridges around it. So pretty straightforward, pretty simple. But when it comes to dollars, that's going to be a little bit more interesting. There are devices out there that will actually read your money to you, and I actually have one with me that I want to show off today. And unlike most devices, the cool thing about this device is that there is It's basically, I'll try to describe it as best I can. It's a small rectangular device that has a speaker on the back, and you can put batteries in it. At each end, there is one button. There's also a little do-jobby thingy on one end of it that's sort of above the button if you were to have it facing you, either above or below depending on which way it's facing. And that's a little do-jobby thing that you can use to attach it to a keychain. So it's very helpful to have. On the side here is a little ribbon, and if you needed to put new batteries in it, you would just pull in that ribbon and you would be able to access the battery compartment. So it's pretty simple in design. It has, I believe these use AAA batteries. I think it uses 2 of them. But in any event, also on one end, on the side that has the ribbon for the battery compartment, there is a rectangular slot, and what you can do is you can fit dollar bills into the slot, and it will tell you what device it has. It's called an iBill, the device I mean. The device is called an iBill, and I actually have mine with me today, and I'm going to demonstrate how it works. I'm going to hold this pretty close to the microphone, so hopefully you will be able to hear it. Okay, let's see. I'm going to slide a dollar bill into the slot and press one of the buttons. Either one, it doesn't matter which. And then it will tell you. 1. Okay, so that's the type of bill it is. Now the cool thing about this device is that there is actually a way to get it to read to you in multiple ways. For example, if I hold down one of these buttons here, and then I press the other one at the same time that I'm holding that one down. Okay, so now, I don't know if you could hear it, but it vibrated. So now it's in a mode where it will read to you with nothing but vibrations so that other people can't tell what type of currency you have. So again, I'm going to slide this dollar bill into the slot and press the button. And you heard it give out a long vibration. That might be an error actually. I'm going to try it again and see what it says this time. Nope, it didn't work. Okay. Maybe this time. Yep. Okay, so it gave a short little vibration indicating that it was a 1. But there is yet another way to get it to read to you besides those 2 modes. So let me press and hold that one button again while pressing the other one. And now you heard it make a little tritone thingy. And I actually have a different dollar bill. And I'm going to try and see what it says. I'm gonna see what it says when I slide it into the slot. Okay, so you heard it make a high-pitched tone. Now, if you happen to forget what that dollar bill is, or what that particular tone means, like I just did, you can switch it back to the mode where it talks to you. Oh, oops, hang on. Okay, so it just said it was a 10. So, depending on what the dollar bill is, it actually changes the tone of the iBill, which is really interesting. I think it's a more secure way than just having it spit out whatever dollar bill you have, because it makes people less likely to know how much you have, and it can be very helpful. I'm just going to change it back to that really quick. Okay, so that is the iBill reader. So we've talked about coins, and we've talked a little bit about handling bills. Now I want to go into Oh, I did forget to point out there actually is another way to have bills read to you. It's not as ideal as this iBill reader might be, but I can show it off for you guys. I have, so if you remember last time, I was using an app called Seeing AI, and I actually haven't really explored how much or how little this app works with money, but we can certainly give it a shot. So I'm going to open up Seeing AI.
Productivity folder, 7 apps, 223.
Open Seeing AI. Okay.
Quick help, menu, button.
Okay, so
cinnamon, flour.
Okay, stop. Okay, so I have it set. So right now I have the channel set to short text, so I'm going to change it.
Quick help, recognize channel, short text, adjustable, document, product, person,
Currency. Okay, so now it's going to be a matter of lining up the camera so that it can read the number on the bill. And this might take a while to do because it's hard to tell. It helps if you lay the bill out on a flat surface and then scan it. So there's
$1.
Yep. Okay, so I don't know if you can hear it. I'm going to move it over and try again.
$1.
Okay, so when doing this, there's a couple of things that you have to keep in mind. You have to know exactly where you're pointing the camera, and it doesn't have to be right on the number, but it does have to be in that general area. You also kind of want to hold the camera a little bit further away from the dollar instead of having it right up against it, because if you have it too close, it becomes blurry and the camera's not able to see it. So just a couple of things to keep in mind. It can also help if you're in a room that has good lighting. So that can definitely help.
App switcher, Seeing AI.
So that's sort of how that works. So while we're on the subject of apps, let's talk about apps that you can use to keep track of your money. There are a lot of apps out there. There's an almost nauseating amount of apps out there that one can use to handle money. However, not all of them are very intuitive as far as interface and as far as accessibility. Some that are really good, like some of the international banks are very good. However, some of them are not. And when it comes to finances, you want to choose the app that is going to be the best at managing all of your financial institutions at once. So getting all of your accounts in one place, knowing exactly what you have, exactly what's going out, what's coming in, that sort of thing. And the best app that I have run across is the app that's called Mint. This is a very, very good app to use because it puts all of your account information in one place, and you can use it to pay bills, transfer money. You can use it for a lot of different things, and you can link as many banks as you need to with it. So all of your money info is in one place. So I'm going to open this up and show you guys a little bit about how this works. And it's going to be linked to my account, but I'm not going to obviously give any personal info or anything. Open Mint. So,
location tracking on. Image.
Sorry.
Location. In progress. Touch ID for Mint. Mint. Add credit score. Mint $10,000 giveaway. Button.
Okay, so the menu can be kind of confusing at first when you're trying to navigate this, but it tends to work pretty well. There are a few things that could use improvement as far as clutter with the interface and that sort of thing. And I will say that over the course of its development, it has seen a lot of improvement. So let's check out what we've got here.
Add credits. Mint $10,000 gift. Add. Button. Settings.
Okay,
Button.
so
Add.
when you
Button.
see an add button, that is where you would go to add something like an account, a budget, a card, that sort of thing.
Settings. Button.
That's obviously the settings button for the app.
Net worth. Spending.
Okay, so it's giving you this fun little chart here.
$90. Button. $20 less than last month.
Okay, so it's saying I have $20 less than I did last month. Okay, and that's just a general score. That's not a specific thing.
Challenges icon. Button. Line chart. 8 data. June 4th. Line chart. 8 data sets. Data set. Data set. Data set. Data
Okay, so it's showing me this visual chart here.
June 4th.
Okay, so it's showing me a recent date
June 12th.
it's June 4th through June 12th.
June 20th. June 28th. Cash. $1,597.
Okay, so that's how much I have in general.
Credit cards. Minus 376 loans.
So as you can see, it's showing you exactly how much you have where. And that's not even for a specific bank, that's just generally. I promise I'm not that rich. So it's just giving you a general overview of how much money you have, where it's all going, and where it's coming from. So it's a really handy thing.
Investment. $0. Property. $0. Recent transactions. Heading.
Okay, and then it's going to give you a list of your most recent transactions.
See all. Button. Heading. New. Heading. Now link your transfers. Heading.
Okay, so there's a thingy where you can link your transfers.
Button. Head. Apple. Electronics and soft. iNet phone trans. Heading not found.
Okay, so let's see what else we've got in here. At the bottom, the screen is basically divided into tabs that appear at the bottom of the screen. So if you
Twitter.
want...
Now. NASA tweeted.
Oh, okay. So if you want to go to a different tab...
Tab bar. Marketplace. Tab.
There's
3
the
of 4.
marketplace.
Notifications. 1 item.
Notifications.
Tab. 4 of 4.
Okay, it says I have one item.
Market. Monthly. Tab. 2 of 4.
That's your monthly expenses.
Selected. Overview.
And then your
Tab. 1 of
overview,
4.
which shows you everything. So let's say I want to set up a budget for a HELOC.
Settings.
I would
Button.
go to
Add. Mint. Add.
Add.
Alert. Add transaction. Button.
So it gives you a list of all the different things that you can add. You can add a transaction manually,
Create budget. Button.
create budget,
Add account. Button.
or add account.
Cancel.
So
Button.
we're going to go to create budget.
Add account. Create budget.
Okay.
Add budget. Heading. Cancel. Create budget category list. Unbudgeted spending this month. Amusement. $11.
So this is showing the categories that are here, and the cool thing about Mint is that it automatically puts your financial transactions into different categories. And you can set which categories you want, but for the sake of ease, it automatically does the most common transactions.
Electronics and software. 11. Finance charge. Shopping. 16. All categories. Auto and transport. Heading.
Okay, so these are all of the categories that you can choose from. It organizes them, the subcategories, into categories under headings.
Auto insurance. Auto payment. Entertainment. Heading.
Okay, so for the headers we've got auto and transport, entertainment.
Vertical scroll bar. Vertical
Oh.
scroll bar. Charity. Health and fitness. Heading. Unbudgeted spending this month. Add budget. Create budget. Bills and utilities. Heading.
Bills and utilities.
Vertical scroll bar. 16%. Legal. Advertise. Business service. Television. Bills and utilities. Heading. Cancel. Create. Amusement. Electric. Find. Shop. Auto payment. Gas and fuel.
Okay, so that's all of our auto. All of this section is if we would have a vehicle.
Parking. Public. Search. Add a subcategory. Bills and utilities. Home phone.
Okay,
Internet.
bills and utilities,
Mobile phone.
and that's what all these are.
Television. Add a subcategory. Business services. Heading. Advertising. Legal. Office supply. Printing. Shipping.
Okay, so that's all the business service stuff.
Add a subcategory. Education.
Education.
Books and supplies. Student loan. Tuition. Student loan. Tuition. Entertainment. Amusement. Arts.
Okay, entertainment.
Movies. Music. Newspapers and magazines. Fees and charges. Heading.
Fees and charges.
Financial. Heading.
Financial.
Food and dining. Heading.
Okay.
Gifts and donations.
Yeah.
Heading. Health and fitness. Heading. Personal care. Heading. Unbudgeted spending this month. Finance charge. Auto and transport. Auto insurance.
Okay, so those are just some general examples. So lots of stuff that we can choose from here. I'm not seeing...
Public transportation. Auto and transport. Heading. Bills and utility. Business, entertainment. Fees and charges. Financial. Heading. Vertical scroll. Trade commissions. Add a subcategory. Trade. Service fee. Late fee. Finance charge. Bank fee. ATM. Bank. Late. Trade commissions. Add a financial. Financial advisor. Life insurance. Add a subcategory.
Okay, so we've got those.
Food and dining. Alcohol. Fast. Gross. Rest. Add. Gifts. Charity. Give. Add a subcategory. Health and dentist. Doctor. Eye care. Gym. Health and foreman. Sport. Add a sub. Home. Furnishings. Home. Heading. Furnishing. Home improvement. Home insurance. Home services.
Okay, home services and home insurance. So we would choose one of these categories.
Home supplies. Lawn and garden. Home services. Home. Lawn. Mortgage and rent.
Mortgage and rent.
Add a subcategory. Mortgage and rent.
Okay, so we would choose that category.
Cancel. Button. Mortgage and rent. Save. Button.
And then we would, if we wanted to, we would hit the save button up here. And what that would do is that would add a budget to the ones that we already have listed in the budget section of the app.
Mortgage and rent. Cancel. Button.
And
Cancel.
I don't want to do that because I don't have a
Overview.
mortgage on a house right now, so I'm going to cancel. But that's just a general example of how you could add a budget. This thing is very, very handy for keeping track of how much you spend, how much you want to avoid spending. It can help with stocks and investments and that sort of thing. So very, very useful app for keeping track of all of your finances.
Budgets. Heading.
So, I think the only thing that I want to talk about now is how you can be financially smart. If you are a blind person, you are actually entitled to... Oh, okay, my thingy's going nuts. So, if you are a blind person, you are actually entitled to certain benefits depending on where you are. Unfortunately, I'm only familiar with some of the benefits that you could receive as a U.S. citizen. I don't really know much about other countries, but I know that here in the U.S., you could, if you are blind, you can actually apply for SSI. And I think I was probably about 18, or no, it was even earlier than that. That's the thing. Whenever you apply for something like SSI, you really have to do it early. So, because it can take a really long time for the paperwork to be processed and everything. So, I was probably about 16, 17, somewhere in there when I started applying for SSI. So it's definitely a process, and a lot of times you have to battle with insurance companies, especially when it comes to things like Medicaid, Medicare, that sort of thing. If you're an older person and you're getting ready to retire, it's not much of a problem because you would receive SSI if you had applied for it, or if your job had 401k, retirement plans, that sort of thing. But it can be a little tricky when you're younger and you are trying to get into college or apply for a job and need income until then, or anything like that. Also, depending on where you work, your job may entitle you to certain benefits that are not necessarily SSI, but it could approve you for insurance, financial, dental, health insurance, car insurance, that sort of thing. So lots of good stuff, and a lot of this tends to be the most relevant to people who work for the government. Both of my parents work for the State Department, so we have had many conversations about benefits that you want to look for when getting for a job. Also, ABLE plans are also a thing. It's sort of like SSI, and a lot of people who are in the states can apply for it. However, it does vary from state to state. However, if you are in a state that does not offer it, you can invest in other states. So you can go, you don't necessarily, I don't think you have to move out to other states that have it, but you can definitely make a plan to invest in a state that does have those types of plans. And it really depends on your situation. I know for me, financial stuff is a little bit tricky, especially when it comes to saving and investing in stocks and that sort of thing, because my insurance, I'm on my parents' insurance until I hit a certain age, and once I come off of that, then I'll have to, I'll only be on my secondary policy at the moment. So it really depends on what sorts of where you are, what sorts of policies you have, that sort of thing. And overall, that's going to determine what sort of benefits you receive. So lots of stuff to keep in mind. I'm sorry if I'm doing a really bad job explaining this. I do want to, actually, I think that's all I had to talk about today. If anybody has any, I did think of one more thing to bring to mind. When you are younger, there is, if you know, the best policy when dealing with financials, as when dealing with a lot of stuff, is to start early. So there is a kit that you can order through the American Printing House for the Blind, APH, and it is a book that teaches you all about money handling. I actually have it myself, and I was reading through it when I was in about elementary and middle school, somewhere in there. And it has a lot of good tips and tricks for folding money, because when dealing with cash, the best way to keep track of it is to get a wallet that has multiple compartments in it, and then you can fold your money in different ways. So, for example, when I put my ones in my wallet, I have them flat, like they're not folded. My fives are folded, it's sort of like they're folded in half, except they're folded long ways. The tens are folded in half, where you just take the one narrow side of the bill and bring it toward the other side. And then, you can fold it in lots of different ways so that you can tell which is which once you identify what type of currency it is. So lots of useful ways for keeping track of money. If anybody has any questions about anything that I have gone over today, or if there are additional things that you would like me to cover in future episodes, please feel free to reach out and ask me. I want to thank you guys for watching today. If you have not done so already, don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter. My page on Facebook will be Bringing Light to Blindness, and I'm also on Google and Apple Podcast, and YouTube and Spotify. And actually, I will be releasing, I will be getting on iHeartRadio hopefully soon. So lots of good stuff to look forward to. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing all of you in the next episode. Until then, I hope that everybody has a wonderful day and a fantastic weekend. See you in the next episode. Bye.
Start virtual. Stop recording. Check.